Hello, my name is Hannah. Today I will be presenting on the verbs found within Rilke's poetry, to be specific, his poem entitled Presentiment. I will be analyzing the verbs by discussing their morphological structure, the type of the verbs, and the valency patterns. So, as stated before, the poem I have chosen is entitled Presentiment. It is written by Rainier Maria Rilke, found in his Book of Pictures. The text itself holds 85 words, 15 of which being verbs. I will now read the poem. I am like a flag, by far spaces surrounded. I sense the winds that are coming. I must live them while things down below are not yet moving. The doors are still shutting gently, and in the chimneys is silence. The windows are not yet trembling, and the dust is still heavy. Then already I know the storms, and am stirred like the sea, and spread myself out, and fall back into myself, and fling myself off, and am all alone in the great storm. I chose this poem because I found his use of verbs to be interesting and required for the overall understanding of the meaning of the poem. I I took this poem to be illustrating someone expecting something, and the dread that comes with that, and then the reaction to when to that. So I think it's in um, like verbs kind of because it's about like experiencing something, expecting something, and then reacting. So all of it has a sense of action or movement or feeling, which requires verbs. And so I think the verbs out of all the words are the ones that navigate the poem. So I think further understanding into them can provide further understanding into the poem. I will be analyzing this poem, as I stated before, taking it clause by clause and discussing the pattern, the valency pattern, as well as the morphological structure and the type of verb. So the first clause is I am like a flag by far spaces surrounded. So the verb here is am surrounded. It is past tense and it is an intransitive verb having just the subject and the verb being obligatory. So am is the primary verb. It is first person singular of be. Surrounded is a lexical verb, dynamic. The base form being surround with an ed suffix. It is an inflectional morpheme showing tense. So the next clause is I sense the winds. This is monotransitive with the subject verb and direct object, winds acting as the direct object. The verb here is sense. It is lexical stative. It is a present verb in the base form, present tense, being in the base form. Are coming is the verbs of the next clause that are coming. This is intransitive because it just has subject verb and it is present continuous. Are is a primary verb, present third person plural of be. Coming is a lexical verb. It is dynamic with a base of come and an ing suffix, and it is an inflectional morpheme showing tense. So the next clause is I must live them. So must live is simple form. I must live them. The pattern is a monotransitive holding a subject verb and them acting as a direct object. Live is a lexical verb. It is dynamic with a base form. It is present. The next clause is while things down below are not yet moving. So are moving is present continuous and it is a copular verb because not yet is required, is obligatory to understand the meaning of the sentence. Are is a primary verb. It is third person plural be. Moving is lexical and it is dynamic with a base form of move and an ing suffix. It is inflectional morpheme showing tense. So the next clause is the doors are still shutting gently. So are shutting is present continuous. It is an intransitive pattern. The doors are shutting can act on its own, so there's no obligatory other required information. Are is a primary verb, third person plural of be. Shutting is a lexical verb. It is dynamic with the base form of shut and the suffix of ing, it is inflectional morpheme showing tense. So the first clause in this, and in the chimneys is silence. So is present. This is a monotransitive pattern because it has a subject, verb, direct object. Is a primary verb, third person plural, third person singular of be. The next clause is the windows are not yet trembling. So are trembling is present continuous. And this is, there's an error. This is actually copular as well. Not yet being obligatory to understand the sentence. So are is a primary verb. It is in third person plural of be. Trembling is a lexical verb. It is dynamic. Base form of tremble and the suffix of ing, it is an inflectional morpheme showing tense. And the next clause, and the dust is still heavy. So is present, and it is a copular pattern. Is a primary verb, and it's third person singular. So the next clause is, then already I know the storms. So know is a lexical verb. It is in the present tense. This is a monotransitive pattern. I know what storms. Storms acting as the direct object. Know is a lexical verb. It is a stative verb. And it is in its base form. And the next clause is am stirred and am stirred like the sea. So am stirred is a verb. It is passive. It is intransitive. Am is a primary verb. It is in the first person singular of be. Stirred is a lexical verb. It is dynamic. It holds the base form of stir with the suffix of ed. It is an inflectional morpheme showing tense. The next is, and spread myself out. So spread out is a present tense. It is a prepositional verb. It is intransitive. Spread is a lexical verb. It is dynamic, and then out is a preposition. The next clause is, and fall back into myself. So fall is in the present tense, and that is intransitive as well. It is a lexical verb. It is dynamic, and the base form being fall. It is in the base form. Sorry. And fling myself off is the next clause. So fling off is present. Sorry, one second. Present. Intransitive. It is also a prepositional verb. So fling is the base form. It is a lexical verb being dynamic, and off is the preposition. And then am all alone in the great storm. So am is an intransitive verb. It is copular. Alone. The pattern is copular. Alone. And I am alone are the three necessary components of the sentence or the clause to understand the meaning. It is am is a primary verb, and it is the first person singular of be. So that concludes my analysis of the individual verbs. As I stated before, there's a total of 15 verbs, 10 of them being lexical and 7 being primary. So the sources I used were, I found the poem in my own copy, translations from the poetry of Rainer Maria Rilke. His poems were originally written in German, so they're translated into English. And my secondary source was the Longman Student Grammar of Spoken and Written English. That concludes my presentation today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I think in general, analyzing the words in poetry, poetry is often deemed as a very hard to understand form of writing and work, but I think taking it bit by bit and breaking it down can provide a lot of insight into the poem and what the writer was trying to express. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you.